Welcome everybody to our Monday night empowerment session. And tonight we will be learning about the Soul Naturals Clarify category, what exactly it means for a product to be part of the yellow classification when it comes to Soul Naturals. And for those of you who are new or would like to have updates or reminders, text reminders for when we do these Zooms, you can text LEARN to the number below 1-866-256-1970. And I send out a text reminder approximately 15 minutes before we begin. So glad to have everyone joining us tonight. So what exactly does the Clarify category represents? So, years and years ago, maybe a year or two into the beginning of Soul, I taught a class called Soul Simplified. And they had me bring and teach it to convention too, because I broke down all the categories simply to help people understand what they represented, to help you to identify what product might be good to add to your regimen. So clarifying products are designed to help with mental acuity, sharper focus, and physical regeneration. But let's look at that a little closer to understand exactly what that means. It's very simple in my mind, and it has to do with stagnation. So if we look at the picture on the left, which is an overgrown water with the algae, we've got, there's not going to be as much oxygen there, versus a picture that I took when I was in Canada, that crystal clear water, that blue reflecting the sky. I could see the rocks all underneath it. That to me is the difference. And so when we have stagnation, we're going to have higher oxygen or carbon dioxide. We have dis-ease. It is more of an odor producing environment, and things are dying and breaking down because they are oxygen starved. When we have this other picture over here, like where the water is so crystal clear, it is higher in oxygen. It would represent better health for the water. It's going to be fresher, clean smelling, and you can see it's growth and life-giving. Well, that to me is what the clarifying products do. They go through and they filter the system, all the different parts of the body that help to do that. Lymphatics is a good representation, and it helps to clean it up so that you have a health-producing environment. So keep that in mind as we look at each of these products that are in here. So Excel is the signature drink that comes with this category. And one of the amazing testimonies I received on this product came from a medically retired nurse that I had who had MS. And at that point, she was using Vital Mega, Soul Mega, Soulflex, Calm and Balance. And then I added in Excel to a program. And within 1 week of adding it, and she did one twice a day, she went from being almost blind. In fact, she was legally blind to seeing with no issues. I will say that she had just been diagnosed as legally blind just right when we added the Excel. So she wasn't very far into it, but she went to having no issues, excellent circulation in her hands and feet so that they were no longer drained of color. She stopped being cold. Her migraines and ringing in her ears had disappeared. Her pain was disappeared in her extremities, and she began sleeping with no help. And her memory and brain function were so impressive. And when she would call me before this point at the shop to talk with me, she was so hard to understand, and she would lose track of what she was talking about. And it really was agonizing trying to understand what she was trying to communicate. But when I had the first conversation with her after adding Excel to this other protocol she was on, it was amazing. She nailed everything sharp as a tack, and was just very exciting. So what are the key benefits for this signature drink in the clarifying category? So we talked about clarifying, so it does help clear the mind and the eyes. Also works with supporting the respiratory and circulatory. It's also loaded with antioxidants that come from the kupal asu that is in this, and along with amino acids that come with that as well. The alertness, like I talked about in that testimony. Theocrine is in it, which helps your locomotor skills. And it also, because of the maca that's in there, 3 different macas, it supports libido and the endocrine system. So otherwise, it's going to work on memory, restful sleep, depression, mood, prostate issues, and skin production. And then maca in particular is really known for helping the bodies to strengthen the bones. So when I have women that are looking at how can they enhance their protocol to prevent osteoporosis, Either the Excel or the Solmaca is the product that I always lean towards. This, and I take both of them, is what I am using to help in my osteoporosis prevention program. So now let's hear about our next product we're going to talk about.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mary Ellen, and I've been working with Solle products now under Val for a little over 2 years. And I'm here to talk a little bit about Solle SI, the Sinus and Immune Blend. Amazing blend for what knowledge I do have about herbs. It has just been really helpful for me. I suffer from a lot of allergies, food, trees, plants, enough that at certain times I've really suffered in my life with sinus infections, bronchial problems, etc. So being able to find a blend like this that can be taken orally, it's easy to travel with. I love to travel. I go up in elevation. I like to drive and go up in elevation. That's given me issues in the past. This has become, once again, adding it into a day-to-day regimen and having it near to me has been key to keeping sinus passages open. I don't have near, if any, honestly, sinus pressure headaches are very, very rare and now can be knocked out with a quick push of even 4 or 5. I'll take at one time. If I just have had I've colored outside the lines pretty quick and I can feel it coming on. That, and I like to use Tiger Balm. I do a massage on my head and have kind of learned points on my head to kind of open everything up. But that regimen and the fact you can do it daily, there is no side effects. I don't have the sinus infections I used to have. I've kept these airways healthier as well. And I just couldn't say enough good things about the SI. And
As you can see, she, like myself, really loves the Soulclear SI. And so what are the 5 key benefits that comes with the Soulclear SI? The immune and respiratory we just heard about. So it does strengthen the immune system. It's really good for sinus and respiratory issues. Stress. Suma, which is in this formula, is an amazing adaptogen. In fact, the first time I took it, when I was testing it, I only took 1 capsule, and had been pushing myself pretty hard, and I literally could just feel everything shifting, my ears opening up, and I knew at that point that was going to be one of my favorite products. It does have herbs that help to clarify the mind, eyes, blood, circulatory, and respiratory system, and then it helps to balance and clarify hormones. And then you see down below the opening up capsules and making a tea with it. I also combine, many of you know what I do with the NeuroAM and the Soulclear. In fact, I use that as a preventative every single morning. I put it in my cinnamate, but it can be done just by itself like this. It can be done in the Renew. There's so many different ways, but thinking outside the capsule for a faster and different type of delivery happens whenever you add it and make a tea out of it with the boiling water. So in fact, I am one of those that like I said, I have it every day, and it is something with some people have been getting some of this, flu-like symptoms have been going around that's hitting the respiratory. This is one of the things that we talk about using to help challenge that. So now we're going to talk about the Clarify Soul Essentials blend. And I love this because of the information the feedback that's been given with this. Shelley Sutton created this blend when she was doing her aromatherapy certification with our formulator of these oil blends, Jennifer Pressimone. And she did a roll-on with 6 drops of Calm, 4 drops of Clarify, and 2 Balance, and then using her grapeseed oil as a carrier. And Jennifer gave this additional information for types of headaches. So if it is a vasodilative headache or migraine where the head feels like it's exploding because the vessels are too open, you would add more Calm. If you have vasoconstrictive where the head feels like it's being squeezed in a vice, you add more Clarify to open it up. And I think that is really good to know, and how the Clarify impacts that in that blend. And if you're not aware, different types of headaches, different positions in the head, I have material about that, but being able to target the different types of headaches there when it comes to the oils, I think is very powerful. So what exactly is the breakdown of the Clarify blend? We've got lemongrass, black pepper, fennel, spearmint, basil, and rosemary are all in here. And as you can see, there's not only just physical impacts that these oils have and why Jennifer selected them, but also different types of emotional and mental things. So the lemongrass, look at nerve pain. I'll just hit on a couple of these. Jet lag, lactic acid buildup, and decongest stuckness. And that I love that. Black pepper is another one that I've enjoyed quite a bit. So I love it that's in this formula. And all my other essential oil blends are long, long gone because we've had these for, I want to say 9 years now. But the black pepper is really good for concentration and memory, and also helps to increase blood flow. Now, fennel is works really well for lymphatic congestion, helps when digest situations and circumstances. So as you listen to these different benefits, you can understand why it's in the Clarify combination. Spearmint, encouraging lightness of being or childlike fun, also helping with things like urinary health. Basil, we've got respiratory liver congestion and helps to open the mind, promoting clarity and thinking. Rosemary, most people are familiar with, has to do with concentration, but it also helps with adrenal support and circulation. And it helps a person to clean out clutter and move forward. And our next blend is in the Clarify category is the Confidence Compass blend. So Chris Villiers, who's a naturopathic doctor, has this great testimony talking about using Confidence blend on the back of the ears or behind the ears area and the thymus gland. I copied that. I see it says shown below, but the thymus gland, for those that have got the screen can see it's, where a thymus tap is. You can look up and see where the thymus is. But by using this technique, she'd been able to move beyond the box that she had created with her nervous system and find her creativity again. And so by continual daily regular use, you will, so many people have emotional breakthroughs and being able to move forward. So what is the breakdown of confidence? You can see I've got up here in the upper corner here, because each of the compass blends has got one or two of the individual blends in it. Like this one has clarifying calm, but then there's a couple additional essential oils thrown in. In this case, ginger, eucalyptus, and lemon are the 3 additional oils. And so the key benefits for this would have to do gastrointestinal upset. We can see acid reflux, neuropathy, mental, talking about working on motivation and self-assurance, emotional, boosting self-esteem, self-acceptance, self-worth, and patience. All these compass blends I absolutely love. And every time I read the benefits of them or actually in the products, I'm reminded again how much and why I love these formulas. So we have another testimony here. Shelley happened to be with us when we went to Snowbird, and they had a Thinking Outside the Capsule session. And they were talking about, in fact, I believe it was Lydia Ferrantino, talking about using Soul Megas for an earache, and by how you prick the capsule and drop it directly into the ear. And she says, the bottom line is that it worked like a charm for her. And it reminded her when she was young and her mother would heat up mineral oil and put in her ear. But this is definitely leveled up and much more healthy than mineral oil. And many people have used this and really like this result. And I wish that this was around when I was young, because maybe all the issues I had with earaches and just all the pain with that. To have a simple result or option to go to would be great. So how do you know if a plant, and remember all of these, this is plant sourced as opposed to fish. We cut out the middle fish, otherwise we go straight to the plants because the fish harvest it. So why use the fish? And I am not a person who eats fish, but here are some different ways or symptoms, things that you might be demonstrating that might indicate to you that plant omega-3 might be beneficial. For me, my brain would run laps and run the list of every client I talked to, every presentation I'd done, everything I was getting ready to do, and it would not shut down. Omega-3s would challenge that. And actually what's happening is the brain is looking for food. And so as soon as I would get the omega-3 in, it would shut down. I also went through a session where it really felt like I was walking on glass, and I realized I didn't break down fats that well. I don't have this issue with this. It works fantastic for me. Always fun when you find new and created and unplanned words coming out of your mouth when you speak. Again, might be another indicator for soul megas, finding your keys in the refrigerator, joints being really rusty, or you forgot what your hormones are. Because if you're not aware, your hormones are made out of good fats. So if you are eating a fat-free diet, your hormones are probably being challenged, or at least they're not having the good fats to build good quality hormones. And then good vibrations is in the clarify category. And many people are aware of what fiber can do, but do you realize that it impacts your thinking, helping to clear the mental fog? I've always said that people whose bowels do not move regularly like they should, so 2 to 3 times a day is what you're shooting for, assuming you're eating 2 to 3 meals a day. And when they don't, we have what we call stinking thinking. So good vibrations helps to challenge that. And these are 2 great pictures to help demonstrate what fiber does. For instance, squeezing the middle of the toothpaste tube only gets out so much toothpaste and doesn't allow the toothpaste behind where you're squeezing it to come out. And same with a broom, we're using it to push things. So when the colon is not have something to push against, it works more like this toothpaste tube that's being squeezed in the middle. So when you have it nice and full of fiber, when it squeezes, it can continue to push and move things out. Or we also look at fiber as a broom that comes in to sweep and move things out. It picks up maybe wet items. If you think about when it comes to the floor, like if any of you have ever worked in garages and you spill oil or things like that, they've got, some people use cat litter or whatever to soak it up so you can sweep it out. Think about that when it comes to the colon. And then 2 other Clarify products are in the Clarify category are ProBioIQ and Fast Track. And I have this excellent testimony using both of these for a client. One of my clients' husband had been slowly deteriorating due to Parkinson's, and she had done an incredible job supporting him. But having the bowels still eliminate regular and easy was being a challenge. So she added the ProBio, and it started helping because it was helping him mentally some. But when the real benefits kicked in is when we added in the Fast Track as well. So much so well that using those 2, they were able to pull all of the products that they were using and the nursing home was using. And it was a huge relief because they've been going on for years. And when I say they were using lots of other products, there was probably these 2 products probably replaced 5 to 6 others that they were using to try and get his bowels to move. So a huge improvement. So let's look at a little bit of basics on Fast Track. It does have Cascara sagrada in it, which stands for sacred bark. And Cascara sagrada, these are some of the things that it works with. A toxic bowel, congestion or constipation in the bowel, and even chronic constipation. I have seen as extreme as bowels moving once every 6 weeks, and the doctor told them that that was normal for them and not to be concerned. I will tell you that person was very ill, had a very slow healing time, so much so that it took over a year for a broken bone to heal. And when you think about how important the bowel is for getting nutrition absorbed and for toxic material to move out, you can help understand why this was critical. Cascara sagrada also is going to help with a sluggish bowel, liver challenges, parasites. But one of the things that makes this product also so unique is the fact that we have holy basil extract in it. I don't know of any other product that supports the bowel moving that has an adaptogen for mental health added into it as well. Well, it does other things, but holy basil is well documented to work with stress and helping you have a better outlook in life. Well, when people get highly stressed, that also shuts down their bowel. In fact, they say that if there's one thing that children in particular whose bowels don't move well, that they can control when all the rest of their life feels out of control, it's their bowel, and they will clamp down and shut it down, and then the bowel stops moving. So holy basil helping them to feel better, or anyone with these challenges, comes in very important. Notice it also helps processing with grief, helps with nourish the heart, helps normalize cortisol levels, helping protect against radiation chemo induced damage. So this is also something that I have used for people that have had done rounds with that when they're challenging cancer, helping to balance blood sugar. Not many people know that when it comes to holy basil. And then it's hepatoprotective, so it helps protect the liver and lowering the incidence of gastric ulcers. Again, we help to reduce stress, as all adaptogens do. Then it would naturally help to reduce those ulcers. But all of these are documented through research. And then the probio-IQ has to do with good gut bacteria. So why is this important? Well, good bacteria helps your memory. It helps your bowels to regulate, especially if you've had people that have been on many antibiotics or they don't eat very healthy. They do not have the good probiotic or good gut bacteria population. And this helps to restock them. You want to come in and restock this on a regular basis, because we don't always make the best food choices, even those of us that try and do well. And good bacteria is going to help your aid in digestion. It's going to help you feel better about life. There's a large portion of both your immune system and your brain support that comes out of the gut. So it's going to also work with the mood and immune system. And then it's very important with vitamin B synthesis. And when you have good bacteria, and you'll be able to break things down better, then it's going to help support your metabolism. There was a study, and I don't remember when or where right now, but the basics of it was that they saw an increase in people being able to modulate their weight in a much more healthy way when they introduced a good bacteria or good probiotic into their daily regimen. So now we're going to hear from Becky here on a testimony that has to do with the Omitox.
So my name is Becky, and I want to talk about Omitox. Omitox this year was a lifesaver for me because I developed hives. Now, when they first started, I didn't really know what the cause of them was, but I knew that I had hives everywhere. So I went to my toolkit, and that's my nutritional toolkit. I've been taking Solle for years, and I was thinking I was all inflamed. I needed to calm this down. So I started on calm products topically, internally, and it helped, but it wasn't helping fast enough because at this point I started to get hives in my throat. My tongue swelled up and I panicked, and I called my doctor, who totally supports all of my beautiful herbs, and she says, you've been doing this, but if your airway's blocked up and you can't breathe, then you are going to die. So take some Benadryl. I took the Benadryl, and for sure it helped me in those moments, but it didn't solve my problem, because as the Benadryl would wear off, the hives would return. So in this time frame, it's been a few days now, in this time frame, I determined that it was a food problem, and whatever I had eaten and that was in me needed to come out. I was processing something. So that made me focus more on getting things out of me. So I was taking my Good Vibrations fiber. I was taking Vital, but it was when I added the Omitox that gave my liver that extra support that I really found relief. I felt so much better. The hives dissipated. I then continued on with the detox, and it was a game changer for me. I felt so much relief, and I can't say enough good things about it. It really helped me whenever I was really suffering. I was a sight to see.
I love Omitox and how Becky used it in this situation, because the bentonite, the charcoal, we've got different plants in it and items in it that help absorb toxins. And so DC standing for deep clarifying. So we're looking at detoxing, and then we've got the Mangista in it that's helping the lymphatics, which with the hives coming out, it was just the whole system was being overwhelmed. Becky nailed it. She did exactly what she needed to do. So this is a fantastic testimony. So here's the 5 key benefits when it comes to the Omnitox. Detoxifying. So it helps multiple organs throughout the body, not just one area. It's going to support that lymphatics, the blood, the liver, intestinal, and the colon. All those areas are very involved when it comes to the body being able to get rid of toxins. And I will tell you, by supporting those, it also indirectly supports the respiratory system because it's taking some of that load off of that. So liver support, it does help that liver, and the liver gets very overwhelmed with working with what it does to help to detoxify. It does work on getting rid of parasites, and because of the skin being recognized as a third kidney, when you're supporting all these other eliminative areas or areas that support elimination in the body, underlying areas, then it's going to help to work with the skin as well. So as you can see, there we have the full lineup of all 9 items that are in the Clarify category. So now I have asked Greg if he would take a few minutes here to share some of his thoughts on that.
I would love to. And hello, everybody. Valerie, do you mind putting that picture that you just had on there? I love it.
I will do it.
And in fact, you just made me think, and as we're sitting here listening to this awesome, really awesome information, so good, so useful. I believe the Clarify category is the largest category at Solle, isn't it? I was thinking about that.
I think so.
I think it has the most products. And there's a reason. It's a reflection. We do try to bring products to meet needs particular to our time. I mean, there are some classic needs in nutrition that people have always had, and I believe that. But I believe that there are some unique needs. There's a little more overload, and this whole yellow category, which has, I don't know, 2 main functions. I like to boil it down to 2 things, listening to the messages of Valerie. I mean, one is removing blockages that impede nutrition and processes that are vital to the body regenerating, restoring itself. So removing blockages. And then the other with yellow is restoring the flow of energy. And that's just how I think of them. When we do that, because energy has to flow for anything to happen, literally anything to happen. Eating and cells getting nutrition is an energy transfer, and we don't always think of it that way, but it is exactly that. It fascinates me. Valerie could teach this a lot more than I could. But Valerie, I love listening to people that get into a little bit of the physics of cells, where they can actually measure the amount of energy in a cell. And there is I just can't remember what is the it's not megahertz. What is it? The hertz, I can't remember the scale. Someone probably knows this. There's an energy measurement and an activity of energy in a cell. And in science, that measure can tell you to a great degree how healthy the cell is. When it gets below a certain marker, almost always you will find abnormal situations there and leading to abnormal cells. When it's higher and overly accelerated, there are other imbalances. And when it's in a range, generally speaking, there's good health. And so the yellow category is about a good flow of energy and removing those things that impede it and get into the way. Sometimes it's cleaning them, and sometimes it's simply providing the body with those nutritional aspects that not so much remove, but the body does the job itself. It just needs, like Valerie said, it needs a condition. Like the fiber is such a great example. It needs a certain condition to exist so that the trains that come in can get out of the body. So for me, just 2 things that I wanted to share tonight with the yellow category. You caught my attention on the unplanned words. It reminds me of, excuse me, in college, one of the Soul founders and I, Corey, we played flag football to blow off steam when he was getting his law degree and I was getting my business degree. We were on a flag football team. So flag football, you pull a flag to stop somebody. There's no tackling here. It's all the strategy without all the broken bones. Well, we were playing a team once and the guy tackled Corey. Now, some of you know Corey, right? A few of you on here have met Corey. He's our legal counsel and from the beginning helped us set up Solle for the long run. Forever grateful for Corey. He's a great individual. Well, we were playing this game and someone tackled him instead of pulling his flag. Well, some little switch flipped. And all of a sudden, let's just say a string of unplanned words came out. I won't tell you the rest of what happened. It was quite funny because many of the people on this team, they were married. And Corey afterwards, he's like, I don't know where that came from. He goes, the thing I feel the worst about is all our wives were sitting there listening. Now, I was the only one not married at the time. So I was fine. I said, I'm fine, Corey. But it's so interesting though, that story, you made me think of it because when things are going well, when we're healthy, when the bacteria level, when our bowels are moving, when the energy flows the way it's supposed to flow in the body, it takes a whole lot for those situations to get the best of us. It just does. And when they're not, I don't know about you, but I'm this way. Whoo, yes, the unplanned words can come out pretty easily. And afterwards I go, wow, I don't know why I'm not even that upset. Where'd that come from? So the yellow category to me is near and dear. And I love that you brought up the whole mental side of it, because it is to me the overlooked area for that generally in the world. I don't think it is here. We get taught about it every week here in this class. The second thing that I wanted to share today is the signature drink Solle Excel. This time of year, and particularly during this time, we got the grandkids, Valerie and I were talking earlier today. Some of them are fighting this little cold. I noticed today a little bit of this, so I'm listening to my body today and I ramp up things. I change what I do. I'm so grateful, like all of you who have shared testimonials, that I have things that I can go to. Well, one thing that I would just throw out there for your consideration during this time, and just in general, I'm talking about the season, anytime that gets into the winter season, a lot of change in temperature and change of season, body's adjusting to it. And sometimes when things are great, we adjust quickly. Other times it takes us a while. One thing that I really love is to make, and I've been doing this the last couple of days and seen a big difference. I make an Excel in a water bottle, and it's an extra buddy for me. I just sip on it. I don't try to drink the whole thing. If I purposely don't, it's sipping Excel. So I don't know if this will work the same for you as it does for me, but sipping Excel has really been an awesome thing for me just the last day and a half. It's something I started doing, new idea. I mean, I'll drink it at different times anyway. This time I'm not. I've gone to it. And so it's little doses of it at different times during the day, kind of covering, I don't know, different aspects, different cycles. I love that chart where you show the vital organs and the times of greatest activity, how they vary on our various vital organs, like the heart, the lungs, the liver, etc., the kidneys, spleen. I'm a big believer in sometimes the idea is not necessarily increasing the dose, but multiple times where we let our body have that. I wish I knew all the reasons why that just seems to do so much for us. And other times, Valerie probably knows those, or some of you probably do. But that's my second sharing tonight is sipping Excel as a buddy in a whole lot of different aspects. Excel's really varied in many of the things that Valerie talked about. Aspects of that are helped by that signature drink. And so it's really applicable as sort of a constant sipping or intermittent, that's the word I was looking for, intermittent sipping of Excel. Maybe that'll be helpful to you. Back to you, Valerie.
Thanks. Yes, like microdosing like that, I can take And the same amount that we would take during a day, maybe if we're taking 4 of something and break it down to 4 doses of one spread throughout the day, can be highly impactful for something like that. So absolutely. And then the quote that I want to leave with, I felt supported the clarify category very well. It says, where there is stagnation, there will be pain. Remove the stagnation and you remove the pain. So use that clarify category to support, as we talked about in the beginning, the difference between stagnation and that beautiful clear water. Help the system to clarify and clean out. Next week, we will be covering the balance category. So hopefully you will join us next Monday at 6:30.